Hi everyone, this is a review for the game Five Tribes by Day of Wonder. As you can see here, there's the board set up. I'll explain about it a little bit in just a little bit. Basically, the theme of the game is that this land, the old sultan has died, and you play a stranger. Basically, play an influence over five tribes that are scattered across the land, and whomever basically influence them in the most efficient way gets to be the sultan. This is a game from the age of 13 and up, even though I believe a younger age of kids can play. 2 to 4, and it takes about 40 to 80 minutes. At least that's what it's indicate in the rules of the game. So like I said, you play a stranger and you have a color of a pawn. I'm just showing a setup for one player. So the turquoise player has camels, or all of them have camels. You also get a currency of 50 coins. The point of the game basically is at the end of the game, whomever has the most victory points wins the game. And money also that is left also goes towards the victory points. So basically what happens here, you have the board that is basically set out of 30 tiles. It's been set randomly. Then in this bag where you have all of the meeples that basically represent a tribe, each color is a certain tribe. You grab 3 randomly from the bag and place them on each tile. Also, we have what's called the resource cards and slave that are laid out here that can be purchased with certain actions. And we have also gene cards that give you certain abilities. Right above here you have the beat order track and the turn order track. So what it is that each color represents a specific tribe that has a certain attribute. For example, the white ones represents elders, the yellow one represents viziers, something like that, however you pronounce it. The blue represent builders, the green merchants, and the red assassins. When during the game you acquire certain colors of meeples, that with them you can do certain actions or keep them towards your victory points. And the way this works is, at the beginning, players bid with their currency on who's gonna go first. So this is here, as you can see, is the turn order track. Randomly, the first person will decide that they will spend, for example, 5 currency, and immediately as soon as they place it on the 5, they have to pay 5 to the bank. Then the second person decides, okay, I will pay 1. At least obviously he doesn't want to pay as much to be first. He's willing to be the second, assuming that the third person might go on 0. So let's pretend that this is the order that it was bid. So from here on we take the first person, the second person, and third person, and now we have the order of the turn. At the end of each turn the person who went first gets to bid again how much he wants to see if he's gonna win to go first again the next turn, and so on. The actions that you can take in the game, the way that this game works is these tiles represent certain victory points as well as tile actions. Now what you need to do is basically pick up strategically. I won't get into that in too much in detail at the moment, but let's imagine you would like to pick up these guys. You pick them up and you distribute the tribes all across the board, where the only rule that applies here that the last meeple that you drop on has to drop on a board that has the same kind of meeple. And the way that you distribute the meeples has to be adjacent tiles, cannot go diagonally, but adjacent tiles. Now, as soon as I dropped a white meeple here, I pick up the white meeples, and I do certain actions with them, depends on the color, or I just retain them to gain victory points. Now, let's pretend that this tile was empty, because over time tiles are empty, and we have this meeple there. And let's imagine that my last meeple I drop here. That means I pick up these guys. As soon as I pick up meeples and a tile is empty, I have the opportunity to take control over it. I place my camel, and this is how I gain the victory point of each tile at the end of the game. Now, as soon as I grabbed meeples from any tiles, and it doesn't matter if they were the last one or not, I have the opportunity to perform the action off the tile. And for example, this tile has giving us the opportunity to pay 6 and to grab 2 cards out of the 6 first resource cards. So I pay 6 and I can grab, let's say, these cards and that card. And let me just focus on here. Let's see if it's possible to do. Yep. So as you can see, this is a slave card. This is a resource card. And I put them in my possession. Now with slave cards you have certain actions you can perform, such as acquiring these gene cards. This genes card, let me see, I'll pick up this guy. Alright. The gene cards can be acquired by landing on tiles with a specific symbol that lets me collect, and then I pick up one of them, and let's say I have possession of this gene card and I put it by my side, and I can use it during any turn with a certain action. For example, this one, if I spend a white meeple, which I believe a white meeple is an elder or a slave card, I get a palace to place it on any tile that I want. Now a palace is basically this guy. I can take it, and I imagine that I would have the interest to place it on a tile that I already have control over. Palaces at the end of the game gives you extra victory points. There are certain actions on the tile that let you just place palaces, like this one. If you land here and you get to do the action of the tile, that would be palace, and you'll grab more palaces, and there's few of them, and place there. We have also palm trees. There's certain action that lets you place palm trees that also go towards victory point. Now, what are these cards, the resource cards? I should mention probably once that you grab certain cards from here, this card slide down. And we just replenish this line with more cards. And as far as I recall from the rules, the only way of obtaining a card is by certain actions. Like I said, this one you pay 6, you grab 2 out of the first 6 ones. Let me just show you this tile closer. So you can see, you pay 6, you can grab 2 out of the first 6 ones, or there's another tile like this one. You pay 3, you get 1 out of the first 3 ones, and so the game keeps on going this way. And I have to say that I gotta look in the rules and see exactly when the game ends. The game ends is as soon as a player drops his last camel somewhere, or there are no more legal moves. Over time the board will be empty of meeples. Some tiles will have a lot of meeples in them. You'll end up just like traveling around with them and end up somewhere, etc. So this is basically the game. It's a very nice game, I must say. I enjoyed it a lot, even though it seems that it may not be a deep strategy type of a game. It kind of like it is. You have something in it, and it also reminds me of the game Istanbul. If you had the opportunity to play that, kind of like in a way of the mechanics, just moving from tiles to tiles. And the last thing that I didn't mention, these resource cards at the end of the game, sets that you collect, the more that you collect, the more money you gain. And that's really it. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you like it, I appreciate if you subscribe. Thank you, and expect some more reviews. Thanks.